Hello, this is Pastor Terry Goodman, and I want to welcome you to the Wesleyan Connection. This podcast is primarily for the clergy and laity of the Holston Annual Conference. Join with me now as I take a look around the Connection and share some of the things happening in the churches of our annual conference. I want to welcome you to the broadcast today. I'm going to talk with you about something that I do in my evening times on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I am a live broadcaster on a internet community called YouNow. That's capital YOUNOW.com if you want to check it out. My name on that site is Pastor Terry. Every Tuesdays and Thursdays from about 8 till 9:15 or so, I do a live on-air broadcast. You got to understand, I'm a 55-year-old male reaching out to an audience that is primarily between the ages of 15 and 25. And I'm trying to connect with them, and surprisingly, I'm managing to do it. The Lord must be behind this, because I want to share with you a conversation that I had recently with a girl named Janie, who's an 18-year-old young woman from the Dallas, Texas area, and she has just been put in charge of a youth group at her church, and she was trying to figure out exactly what it is that maybe she needed to be doing, and she asked me for some advice, and that's what I gave her. Now, you've got to understand this YouNow process is I'm a live broadcaster at the time it's happening, and I'm seeing a series of words down the side of my screen that are the questions that they are asking. So you never will actually hear Janie talk. You will only hear me referencing the things that I'm reading off the side of my screen. So don't get concerned if you think, well, where's she at? You can't hear her. No, you won't be able to hear her because she is sort of silent in the background, but we are conversing with me live, talking, her listening on her end, and then her responding back to me with some written requests. So I hope you enjoy this sort of one-sided conversation in which I share some of the things that I think are important for a youth group. You started with a youth group on Fridays a few months ago. Any advice? Okay, meaning that you just started going to a youth group to give advice, I need to ask some questions. First of all, is it, from your picture, you look like you're maybe a little bit older teen. You look like you don't look like an 11 or 12-year-old from the picture. So it's probably not a middle school group. I'm going to assume it's a high school youth group. What do they do when they meet? Friday to me, is a strange time for a youth group to meet, because I would think the youth would probably be going to ball games and things like that. Now, if you meet after the ball games, that might be a good time for the group to meet. Oh, you started a youth group, so you're in charge of the youth group. Okay, then that's a different story. Why did you start the youth group? Was it because your pastor asked you to? Was it because you felt a desire in yourself to start a group for kids? Why, how did it come about? You graduated from high school, okay. So is it the church that you grew up in? Or are you doing this at another church as a job? Give me some feedback here. Also, denomination would help, because different denominations sort of have a different take, I think, on what youth groups are all about. So you've been in that church 3 years. You felt the desire to start it. You're Pentecostal, okay? So, to me, a youth group has several different reasons to exist. On the one hand, you need to provide fellowship. You need to provide a safe place where young men and women can get together and just have some fun, where there's not going to be stress and stuff going on from the world around you for a while. Provide a place of fellowship. You need to also provide a place of learning. You need to find some way to incorporate Scripture and teaching of the Scripture into the things that you're doing. It needs to be a place of growing in terms of their relationship with God, and that's more than just studying the Bible. That's prayer. That's engaging in meditative moments. That's engaging in reflective moments. There needs to be a service aspect. Being a Christian is not just about doing things for yourself, but you also need to do things for other people. Maybe if you have a lot of elderly in the church, you can get the youth together in the fall to go rake leaves in their yards. You get the youth together to go into your community and do something. We collect canned goods here for the children at the primary school, and oftentimes we'll get our youth involved with that. So there's fellowship, there's study, there's discipleship, growing in knowledge of God, and there's service. I think those are the 4 elements that are part of any successful youth group. Now, how you go about bringing those elements into play is up to you and your particular situation. And you don't necessarily have to do all 4 things every time you get together, but there needs to be a balance overall so that you're not just a group that just gets together all the time for fun, or you're not just a group that gets together all the time to study and pray or service. You need to have a balance. Well, I hope you found some of that advice that I gave to Karen, that young lady out in Texas that's beginning her youth group. I hope you found some things in there helpful if you're trying to decide how your youth group can be structured. I want to invite you back to this podcast. This is still very early in the process for me, only the second podcast that I have put up for folks to listen to. But I am intending to offer 2 a week, maybe 3 a week if I can get things moving ahead. And I need you to come back and to listen and to tell your friends. We'll have discussions like the one I just had with Karen, offering advice. But also I want to talk to people. I'm going to talk to our district superintendent in the near future and put him down on tape, so to speak, with some of his ideas for things that are happening in the district. But I'd like to hear from local churches. I'd like to hear the things that are working for you, the things that are making a difference in the life of your congregation and how your congregation is impacting your community. And so give me an email. Send a message to me at pastorterrygoodman@gmail.com. Again, that's pastorterrygoodman@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you and arrange to get together with you and hear how God is using you to make the kingdom stronger in the place that you serve as a pastor, or the place that you worship and serve as a lay folk, as a lay member of a church. So God bless. Have a great day. And come back, listen to the future podcast, and tell your friends and invite them to join us as well. This is Pastor Goodman. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Wesleyan Connection. Be sure to check back often for more podcasts.